angle bisector. And what an angle bisector, we talked about a segment bisector a few days ago. An angle bisector is just like a segment bisector. It's going to cut that angle into two equal parts. So in this case, YW is an angle bisector. So in this case, we say this YW cuts that angle into two congruent angles. And even if our drawing doesn't look like it, in this case, I'm going to tell you it is. So like, again, you can't say like, well, your drawing's bad, I don't believe you. Like if I say that it's an angle bisector, you kind of have to believe me. Like give me a break on some of my drawings here. And so that means these two smaller angles would be equal. And the way we show that, just like we did with lines, we put a little tick mark. We can put these little arcs that shows that they're equal. They're little marks that show that those two are equal. So if I see those marks, I can assume they're equal, or I can make those marks when I know they're going to be equal. So X, Y, W, so that little angle is going to equal the other one, W, Y, Z. So those two angles are the same as each other. Oh, I want to point out a notation thing that shows up in our book a lot. I don't think it shows up anywhere here. I don't use this notation very often. Some teachers are really picky about it. They use this little like equal sign with a squiggle over the top. There's a difference between that and geometry. They really mean the same thing. It's kind of a technical thing that some teachers are really picky about, or the textbook's picky about. I kind of use them interchangeably. So if you see the equal sign with the squiggle over the top, you can assume they're the same. Now, that's different than in algebra when you have two squiggles. That means approximate. But this just means congruent in geometry. So if you see one or the other, don't let them bother you. Okay? So we're going to do a couple more examples here. I think if we have enough time, though I can always pare these down. They're kind of similar questions, I think. All right, so they tell me that Kn bisects LKM. Now, if you notice, there's like three different angles, big angles here, and there's actually probably, you can talk about different sets of angles here. So LKM, L to K to M is this one. This line bisects it. So I can ignore this JK. Well, no, really you can. So you can ignore it. Like this isn't even necessary in this problem. So it's like extra information. So the two angles I care about are the bisected angles, which means that this one and this one are the same. So I make those little marks to remind you that they're the same. Now they tell me that LKM is 7x minus 5. L to K to M, so that's this big angle, is 7x minus 5. So I kind of use different marks, and so this again is why I would suggest drawing in geometry class. So if you guys show me your paper and all you have is answers, it'd make me think that maybe you weren't like doing your work, because if I need to draw this, I couldn't visualize what they're talking about unless I wrote this out. It's a really great idea to do that. They tell me that NKM, that's this one, is 3x plus 9. They want me to find the big angle. All right, so any thoughts on how to do that? Right now, it doesn't look like if I just I can't just set things equal here. I need to do a little bit more work. Yeah?
Adding 4x plus 0, 7x minus 5.
So you think adding these two, what are they going to equal?
To LKM.
Well, we don't know what that is, though. Yep. Yeah, so you guys, they told us it was bisected. If this is bisected, that means this and this are the same. So she's saying, can't we just double it? So isn't this, if this is 3x plus 9, isn't this also 3x plus 9? So those two doubled or added together should add up to what? So these, what's it? Yeah, so these two together should add up to the big one. So those two smaller angles, we know they're the same because they're bisected. Same angle. So I can write that 3x plus 9 and 3x plus 9, or like Lena said, just double it, equals 7x minus 5. Now again, some algebra here. So again, if you didn't think you were going to use algebra and geometry, you're obviously mistaken based off of the first few days here. So 3x and 3x is 6x. 9 and 9 is 18. Where do you guys want to move? I move 6x. Okay. And now we can figure out that x is 23. Okay. Once I know x is 23, again, just going back and looking to see what they're asking for. They want LKM, so I can put 23 in here. I could put 23 in, like wherever there, to figure out LKM. So 7 times 23 minus 5. So I get 161 minus 5, so 156. And again, looking at that, that kind of makes sense. It's a pretty big angle. It's obtuse, like, make some logical, like, kind of argument that seems reasonable. Again, we don't go and measure it. We just kind of make sense of it there. Okay, so we're gonna look at this last question, then we'll be done for today. And just real quick, before I lose your attention, we're gonna cross off the top of the homework. So we're gonna cross off the page 19 and 20. Now, if you're dying to learn how to do that, I'd be glad to teach you, but we're gonna be okay without it too. So you can cross off the 19 and 20. If you're looking for some extra challenge, that would have been it, but we'll skip it for right now, for time's sake. All right. And again, when I skip something, it's not like, oh my gosh, I just skipped the most important thing we're gonna learn in geometry. Typically, it's something that probably be okay if we, we missed it. All right, so this next one is kind of saying the same thing. Now, don't use anything you used up here. So you can't use the fact that x is 23. You might say, oh, sweet, I'm done. I can just put the value in. No, when it's a new question, we have to assume it's a new x. So again, they tell us it bisects this angle. So this bisects this big angle again. Those two are equal. They tell me that NKL. So again, drawing all over this is a great idea. 7x minus 9. Now this time they tell me JKM is x plus 3. They want us to find JKM. They want us to find this. A little bit of a challenge here. What do you guys want to do? Can we use Lena's strategy again? That if they're bisected, do I know something else now? Yeah. So again, if they're bisected, this is also 7x minus 9. Does that make sense? Bisected means they're equal, so those are both 7x minus 9. But where do I go from there? Because if I just say that these two are the same and I set them equal, that's not gonna tell me anything. Anyone see what we can use here that we haven't used yet? There's a really big thing that's going on here that we can assume. Yeah, how do we know about the 180? It's a straight line, you guys. This whole thing together is 180 degrees all the way across. So that means these three angles should add up to 180 degrees. Don't forget about the fact that you know a straight line is 180 degrees. We can assume that anytime you see a straight line, now we didn't use that in the last one because we didn't know that little angle over here. Now I know that these three together should add to 180 degrees. So those three together should add to 180. We're going to do that. Ms. Miller, did you get that I crossed off the top part of the homework? We're going to cross off that part, the 19 and 20. The multiples of 3 thing.
Oh, okay.
Not because of that, but because it's that, it's when you're missing a coordinate point for the
Okay.
midpoint. That's probably something you could probably go without. So 7x, and x is going to be 15x. 3, -9, -9 is going to be -15. Does that sound right? So find out x is 13, I believe. And then once I know x is 13, I can go back in and figure out those other pieces. 13 plus 3 is 16, would be that one. And then this one would be, I believe, 82. We end up being 98 degrees. 98 degrees, a perfect temperature for you to enter school. All right, and again, if you guys didn't see it already, I crossed off that part of the homework, the top part. Again, that's something that you just don't need right now. Extra time later in the year, we'll come back to it, but I'm a little nervous about time-wise with this geometry everyday thing, so, and potentially, virtual or something. So, homework is listed there for you guys. That is due tomorrow. You guys have the rest of the time to get working, which is about 10 minutes. Sorry, that wasn't a ton of time today. For some reason, I keep thinking this hour ends at like on 30,
Yeah.
Did it used to do that? I don't know. I don't think so, but I somehow can't get past that. And again, I would highly suggest for your homework is drawing pictures. It's probably helpful to draw some of these out if it's an angle, like drawing